Hi, my name is David Townsend and I'm a partner sales engineer here at Juniper Networks. Welcome to this third session on Juniper Networks Experience First Networking, and the solution which I'm talking about over the first, second and third installment of this series is the MIST solution. And of course, we'll give a quick refresh on what MIST is. But this third session is covering Marvis. Marvis is the virtual network assistant which utilizes artificial intelligence, AI, to respond, remediate proactively, reactively, any network changes, user client events, etc., which you can view on a single pane of glass in a user interface, and investigate more into to really remediate those events and to really reduce the mean time to resolution, and thus improve the user experience on your network. But first, I'd like to thank our partners at Hardware for setting up, hosting these series of sessions. And if you do have any questions or queries, please ask the experts at Hardware on sales@hardware.com. And of course, they will be more than happy to come back to you with the relevant answers to your questions and queries. So just as a quick recap, as a quick refresher from the last series of sessions that we've been running. So Juniper Networks has a solution called MIST AI, obviously utilizing artificial intelligence. And that's a key point because AI is the beating heart, it is the core, it is the engine that is inside the MIST solution. And MIST is cloud-based. It's not cloud managed, it's cloud-based. It's up there, available 24/7, 365 days a year, using a microservices architecture, which allows us to have weekly updates of new features, enhancements, etc., etc. So MIST can keep pace with your network changes. Not only that, we have a huge range of visibility, which means we can have visibility from the client, so ourselves who are connecting to the wireless network via our phones, our laptops, our iPads, so on and so forth. We have visibility into the wireless network itself, so Wi-Fi assurance, layer 2 network wired assurance, and even into the SD-WAN, WAN insurance. And as such, we have visibility all the way from the client all the way to the cloud itself. And you will see that there are different metrics, which you can see in the session one, which we have for these different pieces of assurance. As I mentioned, this session is all about Marvis. It's about the virtual network assistant, that is Marvis, and how it utilizes AI to really drive operations and support the operations team to proactively monitor their users, their experience, and to remediate any issues, any network events, client events that they may see, whether it be wireless, wired, or WAN, or client specific that they may see on their network itself. But just from a quick introduction point of view, from a high level, what is Marvis? Well, Marvis is the VNA, it's the virtual network assistant, and it's a conversational interface that you can use on MIST to really interact with MIST itself through Marvis. Well, I should say with MIST. You can ask human-based natural language questions, i.e., how is client David Townsend? And Marvis will go away using artificial intelligence to then understand and comprehend through all the telemetry it's received over a long period of time to understand how is my user experience, what am I experiencing in terms of bad events, whether it be connecting to the network successfully or taking too long to connect to this network successfully. I can even ask, how is my SD-WAN? How is my switch? How is my AP? Just general natural-based questions, asking Marvis, a machine, to understand. It will come back with those answers and give you the information that you need to improve the experience over your network, whatever that network may be. And there's also this other aspect of actions. Actions will allow any operator team to see what actions that they need to do, what they need to action on to improve the experience over their network. And we actually break it down into APs, into authentication, into wired, security, clients, layer 1. And you'll see this on the demonstration. And we further break down those actions into sub actions, saying, yeah, there's ARP failures, there's DNS failures, and you'll see this. Marvis is going to provide a unified single pane of glass view into what the operators team need to action to improve that experience on their network itself. So let's carry on with a demonstration. And of course, the demonstration is going to be on Marvis itself. So let me just drag this across. Okay, so I'm going to, let me just zoom out a bit. So there we go. So before I actually touch on Marvis, I just want to show you the way that we saw it in session 1, how to use this SOE metrics, just quickly, and maybe it's just a good refresher. So this is the wireless assurance for the last 7 days for this specific site. And I can see that there's the 7 metrics from time to connect down to AP uptime. Throughput is really not great, but also successful connects is experiencing issues. And if I click on successful connects, I could see that 98% of the 46% of users who are not connecting successfully, they're doing so because of authorization, incorrect password of some sort. And if I click on authorization, it will then display the statistics for authorization for the last 7 days, the timeline that this is happening on, distribution in terms of the network, the anomalies, the failure rate, the over impact for APs, operating systems, wireless LANs, the wireless bands themselves, 2.2 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, etc. The affected items are the users themselves. So who is not authenticating correctly onto the network, the access points and the applications they're in. And if I actually click on Denali, note the spinning wheel just at the top here, that was artificial intelligence, and it's come back with a brief summary saying, in a friendly manner, that not only is Denali, client Denali, experiencing authorization problems within the 5 gigahertz band, 18% of the attempts, but they also seeing throughput issues around about 40% due to limited RF capacity, again 5 gigahertz band, and they're also taking a long time to connect due to slow association, again with the 5 gigahertz band. So not only are they sometimes connecting successfully and sometimes not, but when they do connect, it's taking too long. But when they have connected successfully and within a certain amount of time, they're also seeing throughput issues. So this user's not having a great time. And if I click on View Insights, I can then go into specific client events information for this user, Denali, for the last 7 days. Note the spinning wheel artificial intelligence is being correlated, has correlated all the information for this one user. And we can see all the client events here for the last 7 days. That is the manual approach of doing it. Obviously, I went quick there. How could you make this quicker? How could you have got to that insight quicker? So I'm just going to normalize the display here. What we have at the bottom is this pop-up. This is Marvis. This icon will be here available wherever you be in organization, location. It's there. I'm sure we've seen these kind of pop-ups before on many different web pages that are available. And it says, oh, hi, David, I'm Marvis, your virtual network assistant. How can I help you? And there are some predefined options here, so you can check out the documentation around Marvis. You can look for specific Marvis actions, and you say, well, okay, to view more Marvis actions, please check the page below. And if I do so, it will give me a list of actions. But just generally, I want to know, how is Denali? We've just looked at Denali, and we know that they're seeing throughput issues and slow association and connectivity issues. So if I just ask, how is client Denali? The Marvis has gone away, and now I can see slow association and low throughput. Okay, so not slow association was the number one factor within the summary list. So now if I click on slow association, it's going to say, well, the client was slow 100% of the time within the 5 gigahertz band on this wireless LAN itself. And now I can go into, guess what, client insight. This is everything that I was just looking at before for the last time period. And excuse me, I can also see scope of impact. So I can see that a lot of these associations were within the 5 gigahertz band, not the 2.4 gigahertz band. Or I could change it onto operating system, client type, wireless LAN, and the list goes on. I can also see, are there any other minor issues? So here I can also see, here are the authentication failures for deny 20% within the 5 gigahertz band, again, within this wireless LAN. So I'm able to see just now, just very quickly, how Denali's a single user's experience is on the network, and obviously they're not having a great time. I can also ask, this is for a client, I can also ask, how is my SD-WAN? And Marvis will go away and he will look at all your peer-to-peer paths, your SD-WAN. From Juniper, we have our session smart routers, and we say, yeah, you've got these gateways, these Dallas, Seattle sites, Boston. And if I just click on Boston, immediately it autofills it to troubleshoot the gateway Boston site. And if I click on the gateway which has been disconnected, I can see the failure timeline and the gateway insights into the back here. Now you can see device specific for the SD-WAN. Yeah, the edge port redundancy group, it has changed, but there's 4 bad events, and all of these are related, well, 3 out of the 4 are related to the WAN edge being disconnected at these specific times, and also there is a gateway ARP failure as well. So Marvis allows you to zero in to investigate those issues very quickly, very effectively, using artificial intelligence. But we also have this Marvis on the top left, this tab. Now, if I click on Marvis, I can now see an organization-wide, because I've got organization selected here, an organization-wide action list. These actions are, as I said, actions that a operations team need to action on. Now, what we saw for Denali, well, just for successful connects and authorization, there's around about 1,000, give or take, authentication failures. We're not listing 1,000 here, we're only saying 4. Marvis is using AI to really understand what's happening on the network and how that's impacting the client insight. You don't want to see 1,000 or however many authentication failures per client. What you need to see, what you want to see, is why that's happening in the first place. So if I click on authentication failures, I can now see that the site is all happening on within the live demo. The reason why Radius server has been reconfigured, wireless LAN missed IoT, etc., affecting 4 or 5 clients. But if I click view more, I can now see here the authentication failure details, a timeline that this is happening on, and the failure rate that this is actually occurring. So you can see for the last several days that, you know, for the last 24 hours or so, that this has really picked up in the authentication failures. And I can also see that there's 172% increase, in failures for this site live demo. I can also see the site-wide impact this is happening. So this is more for wireless LAN than it is for specific APs. And that is just within the authentication failure. I can also see connectivity issues, bad cables. So I can immediately identify, well, what, in this case, AP or switch or other, has a physical layer, a layer 1 problem. And as we all must remember, as networks get more sophisticated and more smart, if you have a issue at layer 1, physical layer, nothing else is going to work on top. Nothing's going to work without that physical layer operating at 100%. But here I could see this device, this AP within the kitchen, this port, and I could investigate further that this is actually experiencing a physical layer issue. Now that it has a bad cable, I could actually log into this AP and test the cable, do a trace route, and much more. But again, it's allowing me to reduce that mean time to repair and resolution. And once this has actually been resolved, we can link Marvis into an RMA and say, yeah, this is still open, it's in progress, or it's actually been resolved as well. Your connectivities, as I was just showing, the authentication failures, DHCP, ARP, DNS, everything that's going to prevent end users from connecting to that network itself. I can also see action points. So 7 actions that for the APs that you need to action, that you need to administer. One is related to health checks. So a specific AP with this MAC address, I said, well, you need to replace the AP on this site. Again, live demo within the sales area at this port. That's probably a software version mismatch, so you could update that via MIST, of course. There's also a coverage home. So within the 5 gigahertz band here. And if I go into switch, I can see all the actions for the layer 2. So I could see missing VLANs. Now this is huge. I think we don't talk about this enough. If you look at a VLAN header, any VLAN header within an Ethernet frame, it is 4 bytes of overhead. And I don't want to go too technical, but it's 4 bytes of overhead. You have 2 bytes related to a tag protocol identifier, i.e. is it CVLAN, SVLAN, EVLAN. You have 3 bits to a priority field, 1 bit to a canonical field indicator or CFI, and 12 bits to the VLAN identifier. So 12 bits, a bit can either be 0 or 1. If you do 2 to the power of 12, you come around about 4096. So every VLAN can have around about 4096 theoretically different values per interface, per sub interface. Now, if you think about a switch where it's 12 port, 24 port, 48 ports, and all the sub interfaces and trunk ports, etc., that is huge. And imagine you're the engineer, the operator that has to find a missing VLAN where that link is broken as such. It's going to take you a long time. MIST and Marvis using AI has immediately seen, because it knows the network, it knows what should be configured. It knows, it's seen and reported back to me that, within again, this site for this switch and this switch, 2 APs are missing VLANs, 1 AP. If I click view more, boom, I can immediately see the live demo kitchen. This AP here is missing VLAN tags 100, 200, 300 on this port and 100, 200, 300 on this port here. And immediately I could go into the switch, into that interface and configure those VLANs there. Quick, easy to use. You can also see WAN edge, bad WAN uplinks, bad physical layer cables due on the WAN edge itself. So these are questions. These are actions that you need to act on to improve that experience, whether it be an AP, physical layer, connectivity to the wired or wireless network, the switches, or the WAN. There's full visibility here across the whole organization, whether it be 1 site, 10 sites, 100 sites, it doesn't matter. Or you can move onto specific sites themselves. So here is the live demo site here, just outside San Jose in the United States. And I can see that for this site, there's loop detected, missing VLANs, authentication failures, and of course, the link goes on, the list goes on. Those are the actions. Now, the natural language, let me get rid of this. Okay, so apologies there. So the natural language is, how is client Denali? How is my SD-WAN? And you can see you've got some examples here down on the bottom, or you could check the documentation. The query language is a bit more technical. So here I can actually ask, and you just saw it. So I can actually say, well, I want to have or check the roaming of a specific user. So Denali during last 7 days, just for example. And now Marvis has gone away and extrapolated the last 7 days of information, and using AI, I can see where this user Denali has roamed to and from. So they're moving back and forth between the kitchen and this site here, EBC, this AP here, ABC, sorry, AP, not site. I can also see the to and post roams. So we've gone from next 63 dBm, 5 gigahertz here, and if I actually click on the tick here, it makes it a bit more obvious. So you can see the to and post moves, the channels, the bands, the RSSI values. And was it a good roam? Was it an okay roam? Was it acceptable? And so on and so forth. You can also see a floor plan that they have roamed to and from. And also you can upload your own unique floor plans onto your own secure MIST portal. And I can also measure the roaming on a table here, and you can obviously download all of this locally as well. That's roaming off, but say you want a different one. So I say, well, I just want to list all not wired events. Let's do client events with specific band. You can see that there's a lot of options here within the 2.4 gigahertz during the last 24 hours. And immediately I've seen client events. So you can see there's a lot of DHCP timing out here, DHCP. So again, it's telling you that you might want to look at your DHCP server. And let's change this to AP events. So we're moving away from the client back to the network with site live demo. So I'm looking for AP specific events within a specific site during last 7 days, just for example. And now I can see that there was some reconfiguration, radio resource management, the MIST solution automatically, the MIST APs, I should say, will automatically retune, readjust their channel and power to give the better user experience if it deems that doing so would give better user experience for the clients onto the wireless network. So I can now see all the events here that have happened within the site live demo for the last 7 days. So in summary, Marvis is using artificial intelligence, whether it be the actions that you need to take from an operator's team to increase the experience and the connectivity across your network, whether it be connectivity from an ARP, DHCP, DNS, etc., or physical layer, or to specific actions on access points themselves, onto switches, port flapping, loop detections, which are never great, and the WAN edge itself, or just asking Marvis either via the pop-up or via the Marvis tab here, asking query or natural-based questions to really understand what is happening on your network, what is happening with users on your network, and what do you need to do to significantly reduce that mean time to resolution, to investigate further, and in some cases to automatically remediate using MIST itself. So that concludes the end of the live demonstration. And again, if you do have any questions, any queries, please ask the experts at hardwareonsales@hardware.com, and again, they'll be happy to get back to you. So look forward to our next session, the final installment of these MIST series. And the next session is on location. It is for the asset tracking. It is for wayfinding. It's for beacons, the VBOAs, or virtual Bluetooth low energy beacons, which are unique and patented to Juniper networks. Setting up floor plans and so much more. Lots of information, lots of capability within the location capabilities on the MIST portal itself. So look forward to this, and please register. And on that note, I do thank you for your time, and I look forward to our next call where I will present that topic I just mentioned. Thanks very much and goodbye.